This is a pair of Bose speakers. These are a model 201 Series 2. Not a real expensive speaker. I found them at a garage sale last fall, and I got them for just $5 because they had some paint splatters on them. But that cleaned up fairly easily with some alcohol. Denatured alcohol, not I didn't imbibe alcohol and get them cleaned up. These sold for $100, and they're going to Peru. I believe that's my first sale to Peru. A recent addition to the global shipping program. This is a color brochure that came along with that Sansui amp I sold last week. And I decided to sell this separate, even though it's got a rusty staple. It's still in pretty good shape and very rare to find. Priced it at $30, and it's sold in one day. This is a 4-pack of Maxell VHS tapes. Found these at a garage sale for $1, and they sold for $20 on Bonanza. This is a vintage Sansui tuner amplifier, and this is a model 2000. I found this on Craigslist. I got it for about $20. The dial glass here was pushed in, so I had to re-glue that, and then a number of the interior illumination light bulbs were out. So I replaced those, and it works just fine, and sold it for $200, and it's going to South Korea. I found these boots at Savers while shopping with my daughter when she was down, and although I paid a little bit more than I usually will for boots, I paid I believe $16 for these. They're Lucchese. Good size, 9.5D, pretty good shape. They did have these scuffs on the toe, but they still sold for $100. This is the chess set. I bought it in an estate sale a couple weeks ago for, I got them down to $300 on it. It depicts the cavalry versus Native American tribe. All hand carved in Italy, hand painted. And it sold last night for $1,800. And this is what packaging an $1,800 chess set looks like. Each piece individually wrapped. Let's separate the two compartments with some of this padding. Wrap the whole thing in paper, and then again some more foam padding, and put it in a styrofoam lined box. Can't go wrong with old mailboxes for a couple dollars at garage sales. This one has the newspaper hooks that slide down. Let's show some rust. It's got this eagle emblem on it. Obviously this whole thing was painted at one time. And this sold for $30. This is a pair of nylon saddlebag liners for a Honda Aspencade motorcycle, vintage 80s. And I acquired these at an auction, just sort of lucked out. Nobody was bidding on this large duffel bag. It was a leather duffel bag filled with other bags, and nobody was bidding on it, and I got it for the minimum bid of $2.50. Put the leather duffel bag, which hasn't sold yet, but I believe that's priced at about $70. And these two Honda bags sold for $40. This is an articulating desk lamp, not a clamp on. It's got a heavy base with a chrome cover over it. And I picked this up at the auction in the what I call the garage sale ring, where people just bring stuff from their garage or basement and auction it off. And I got it for the minimum bid of $3, and it sold for $40. This is a turntable head shell, and it came in a pile, or a whole bag, full of bits and parts. When I bought a couple of turntables from a guy, I asked, do you have any other little parts for it? And he pulls out this bag full of old cartridges and head shells. And this head shell I wasn't familiar with, so I did a little research. It's made in Germany, or excuse me, Japan, and it's for a very special tone arm. And this is the only head shell that'll fit it, and so I knew it was worth some money. Took a couple months, but it sold for $190. This is a Ford Thunderbird model. It's kind of a cheap little model, but it came with the original box and instructions. Obviously quite vintage. It's made by Premier, and this sold for $60. This is a 2001 pinups calendar featuring the artwork and illustrations of Earl Moran and Gil Evgren. And even this old calendar sold for $13. This is a Sony tabletop radio, probably from the late 70s, early 80s. Solid state, of course. Found this at a garage sale. It's just in mint condition. It had some paint splatters on it that came off a little alcohol. I had to clean up the volume pot. It was pretty scratchy, but just a matter of taking it apart and getting at it, spraying it with the deoxit spray. And this sold for $60. This is one of the few items that I pre-boxed because I didn't know exactly the dimensions and the weight for shipping once I got it all done. This is a tension pole lamp. It's kind of a different one in that these shades, definitely not something I would go for. I like the cone shaped, but these are sort of tulip shaped, I guess they call them. And this tension pole lamp I found at a little thrift shop in Iowa. I was buying my kitchen table at the time, and it was only $3, and I know tension lamps go for good money, even though I've probably got 4 or 5, but I've never put any up for sale because I always think I'm going to keep them and use them for something. But this one sold. I had it priced at $150, which I know was a little outrageous, but I had best offer on it, and I took a $95 best offer. I found this single TDK Chrome cassette at a garage sale, just going through a pile of cassettes looking for anything different, and this one certainly was. I'd never seen one like it. And I know there's collectors out there, so I got it for a quarter. And even though there's some writing on the actual cassette itself, this still sold for $20. Another of these cheesy looking Premier models sold. This is a 1956 Cadillac. I had to do a little research. There wasn't a box that came with this one, but sizing up those tail fins and comparing them to pictures online, I was able to come up with the year. And this one sold for $50.